I think you and I differ on our angle with regard to, for example, Candace Owens. I think that what Candace Owens is doing right now is evil. It is evil what she is doing right now. Okay, and I say that again.
But what
Because
like
it is
I didn't opine on whether it's evil or not, but my position is it's really none of my business. And
why is it? But I have a question. Why is it none of your business? I mean, you
because
comment on these things for a living.
I'm not mother of the internet.
No, but if this were on the left and somebody were accusing Charlie Kirk of his wife having murdered him, I assume that you would be talking about it.
Is that what Candace is accusing Erica of?
Yes.
Of murdering her own husband?
She's accusing TPUSA insiders and other members of the right wing, including Seth Dillon, of being involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk. Yes.
Okay. Like I said, I don't take in that content, which is an honest statement. I don't have time to watch Candace's show.
I believe you. I believe you. But the point that I'm making is that
what I understand
friendship
Candace
should
to
not,
have
in
been
our
doing.
business, I think it's important. Listen,
Candace
friendship
and I are
should not
friends.
trump.
We don't even know each other.
I understand, but even with Tucker, friendship should not trump our manifest requirement to speak out when people do and say things that are both detrimental to conservatism and morally wrong.
Even worse is when you forsake the true God and don't let your theology influence your politics, which is what I want to talk about today. But first, we need to back up. And hello, everybody. My name is TJ. This is the Daily Dose of Christ. If a daily dose of the Savior is what you need, please be sure to like and subscribe. So I want to summarize what was just said, and I am reading between the lines a little bit. Ben Shapiro is confronting Megyn Kelly on her inaction to speak up against the conspirator, Candace Owens, and her friend, Tucker Carlson. So, if we get to the root of why I think this is such a big issue for Ben Shapiro, it is because he is a Jew first and a conservative commentator second. So, when people fail to speak up or condone anti Semitism, he feels like he has the right to come on other people's show and tell them what they should say or confront them on what they have not said. So Tucker platforming the anti-Semitist Fuentes and Candace Owens' conspiracy and belief that American evangelical Zionism is the root cause of Charlie's assassination really gets his blood boiling. So the question to ponder is Shapiro right? And is he right, more specifically, theologically? Because that's ultimately what matters here. So let's start with Bishop Barron here as we reflect more on this viral clip. I have a few quick clips of Bishop Barron, and he's basically summarizing a key theological point that we have to understand.
So, everyone knows that in the Bible, Israel is the specially chosen people of God. Of all the nations of the world, God chose Israel to be his special priestly and prophetic people, right?
Right. So the Bible clearly teaches that Israel is the chosen people of God. This is a truth in the Bible that we must believe because it's in the Bible, okay?
Salvation has to do not just with Israel, not just with humanity. It has to do with the whole of creation.
So now he takes that idea and connects it to salvation. If Israel is the chosen people of God, ponder this question. Are they the only ones that are chosen and are saved? No, of course not, because God's salvation extends to the whole world.
He does indeed choose the people Israel, beginning with Abraham. How come? So that they might be set apart from everybody else as God's unique focus of attention, so that they might be singled out of everyone to be saved? Well, no. As I explained a couple of weeks ago, he chooses Israel indeed. He singles them out indeed, not for themselves, but for everybody else. Israel, in fact, is chosen, and the new Israel, the church, is in fact chosen as God's privileged vehicle for the communication of the fullness of his truth to the world.
Okay, so there you can see kind of the full teaching of how Bishop Barron explains what we might call replacement theology, that the church is the new Israel of God. So is ethnic Israel chosen? Yes, they are chosen by God, but they're chosen not for themselves, but for the world. They were meant to be a beacon of light. And of course, Jesus is the complete, full, holistic, ethnic Jew that actually saves the world. And that was the entire point. So, why am I saying all of this? How does it all connect? Because American evangelical conservatism has united with faithless ethnic Israel. And they've done so under a collective, a conservative collective that is functioning upon a heretical view. So they like the Bible. They claim that they know what the Bible teaches, yet they believe in a strict and literal interpretation of Scripture that leads them to seeing that the state of Israel is some superior ethnic group that deserves privileged attention over and against, let's say, the American people. And that's the big debate on the conservative side right now. Um, there are right wing people that are pro Israel, and there are right wing people that are not necessarily anti Israel, but they're American first type conservatives. So bring in Candace Owens and the TPUSA stuff, and her view that perhaps some of Charlie Kirk's views of Israel that were beginning to wane are actually the reason, probably why some pro Israel conservatives actually took him out. Um, while that might seem a little bit far fetched, you can also see, and as we understand politics, why perhaps that actually might be the case. I mean, think about it. Kirk did make comments days before his death that seemed to distance himself from the pro Israel American evangelical movement that, of course, he was a part of. He, in turn, and this is a big key to this, lost millions of dollars for the organization TPUSA because of this view. And I don't think it's far fetched to think that if, the CEO of a company lost millions of dollars, that there might have been TPUSA insiders that saw that as a cue to maybe let a brewing assassination slide under the radar, less security, stuff like that. You get the point. The point is that I want to make, however, is that all of this conundrum within the right now that's trying to obviously not they're not trying to literally assassinate Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, but they are trying to in their careers and stuff assassinate them. It really is unfounded upon a heretical view that Israel has a superior place to other nations, and it flows from a wrong biblical hermeneutic. Let's watch one more time what Ben Shapiro had to say to Megyn Kelly. Remember, this is Megyn Kelly's show too. Like that's another thing. He's coming on the show and attacking her when they should be friends, and it's over this national ethnic pride that supersedes his American identity. Really, is how I see it.
I think you and I differ on our angle with regard to, for example, Candace Owens. I think that what Candace Owens is doing right now is evil. It is evil what she is doing right now. Okay, and I say that again.
But
What Shapiro means by evil, I think, is that Owens is undermining a hidden allegiance within the conservative movement that is pro-Israel. Is that evil? I don't think so.
Because
like
it is
I didn't opine on whether it's evil or not, but my position is it's really none of my business. And
why is it? But I have a question. Why is it none of your business?
Because she is a Catholic and she doesn't have the same worldview and perspective of being pro-Israel that you do.
I mean, you
because
comment on these things for a living.
I'm not mother of the internet.
No, but if this were on the left and somebody were accusing Charlie Kirk of his wife having murdered him, I assume that you would be talking about it.
Is that what Candace is accusing Erica of?
Yes.
Of murdering her own husband?
She's accusing TPUSA insiders and other members of the right wing, including Seth Dillon, of being involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk, yes.
Okay. Like I said, I don't take in that content, which is an honest statement. I don't have time to watch Candace's show.
I believe you. I believe you. But the point that I'm making is that
what I understand
friendship
Candace
should
to
not,
have
in
been
our
doing.
business, I think it's important. Listen,
Candace
friendship
and I
should
are not friends.
trump.
We don't even know each other.
I understand, but even with Tucker, friendship should not trump our manifest requirement to speak out when people do and say things that are both detrimental to conservatism and morally wrong.
Is not having a staunch stance on the pro-Israel movement a moral failure or an evil? Furthermore, as Ben Shapiro is saying here, that friendship shouldn't trump one's ability to correct a problem, especially if you have a voice like Megyn Kelly does. But the question for me is, okay, well, friendship doesn't, but does your ethnic heritage trump it? Two, you see, there's kind of a political coercion going on within this clip where Ben Shapiro is trying to undermine Megyn Kelly, predicated upon the very thing that's inflaming anger within him, if that makes sense. So this was a fascinating viral clip to me, and I guess I want to conclude in this way. Shapiro is using Owens as a scapegoat with her radical views on TPUSA and Kirk to try and undermine a certain ethos that is arising within the conservative movement that isn't pro Israel. And that was kind of one of the things that was happening with Charlie Kirk as kind of this young figure that everybody was gravitating towards as he began to unveil that he was losing a little bit of his connection and allegiance to the pro Israel movement on the conservative side. This began to be a bigger issue and created a division within conservatism. Um, I think it's important to remember too that Owens was let go. Candace Owens, the one that Ben Shapiro is calling evil within this clip, from Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro's enterprise. And she was specifically let go because of her views on the Hamas Israel war back in 2024. She has frequently combated American Zionism, and that is basically this belief in American evangelicalism that the Jews are superior and they are the chosen people of God. And because they are the chosen people of God, they have a superior place. All of Israel, literally all of ethnic Israel, will be saved. And therefore, if we want to be in the favor of God, we have to treat ethnic Israel with a certain reverence, even juxtaposed and over and against other nations. So that's the view that she's been combating, and I think that many conservatives are right to do so. And so she separated from Daily Wire, and it became clear that Ben Shapiro, if people were not speaking out against Candace Owens, who is this growing figure, conservative political figure, that he was going to make sure that he did whatever he could in every situation that he can to undermine what she is doing. Why does this matter? I think it matters because we as an American people have always believed that we help all nations, right? We help all nations, and especially as Christians, even more so. We are not for one nation juxtaposed to another nation. I think it's wrong to be pro Israel and against Hamas. I actually even think it's wrong, and this is probably a hot take, and I probably will get canceled for this. I think it's wrong to put your American identity over your Christian one. I think it's crazy that I even have to say that. I think it's crazy that people would be mad at somebody saying something like that. The biggest issue here is, what is our driving identity? And what are the heresies that are leading to certain identities and actions within our political spheres, within our lives, within our societies, that are undermining the Christian ethics and values that we are meant to live into? And of course, the one here is that American Zionism, upon which many of, especially the evangelicals, have imbibed within our culture, that sees ethnic Israel as superior to other people. That's not the case. So, what is the correct teaching? Well, that Israel is the ethnic Israel is not the church, and that the church is the true Israel, that it is all about faith in Jesus Christ. And regardless of your ethnic heritage, if you place faith in Jesus Christ, you are united and covenanted to God in the new covenant. And if we don't have that worldview, it'll lead to some of the shenanigans that we see within this clip. And again, this is just a very small take of a very big issue that is a modern heresy within Christendom in the West. So, be thinking about that today. Remember that Christianity is ultimately about Christ, not his ethnic heritage. And Christ transcends his ethnic heritage. And I think we should too be thinking about that today. And God bless. Peace.